But they've got the Ember and Silencer, two heroes that we have not seen so far, I think, in the 2 days that we've been together. And it's a Silencer Ember that maybe Silencer, I know a couple times has gone mid, but it looks like it could just be the Ember mid. But again, another one of those versatile combos.
There was a brief period where you could first phase pick the Silencer, and then if they didn't address it properly, then you could just throw it mid later on. But I feel like now that the meta's evolved a little bit, it has to be a support. I mean, it's really good against the Phoenix, right? Like if you use it before he's able to, if you use the last word before he's able to Icarus dive, then you can't cancel it midway through. You actually just come back to where you started. So that's nice and handy to have. But
10 seconds.
gonna follow it up with a Shadow Shaman. I was thinking maybe they might go something else that has this BKB piercing lockdown, whether it be the Bane for themselves or a Winter Wyvern. And I'm liking the Clockwork again, you know, just something that's able to get up in the face of CDEC. Silencer has no inbuilt escape mechanisms for himself. Same thing with the Shadow Shaman, so it's going to force them into some force staffs. And, well, before those come up online, you can just stand right on top of the Shadow Shaman and there's nothing you can do about it.
Potentially,
10 seconds.
you know, a 5 Clockwork, maybe even a 5 Phoenix, but or I mean, it could go a bunch of ways here. It could be a 5 Phoenix, 4 Pango, 3 Clockwork. I know there was like one game where I think we thought the Clockwork was going to be the 4, and it ended up being the 3.
And it was the 3 on SRF, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise on that one, and you know, there's definitely some options here for SAG. I do like the Silencer. I think early he does a lot of damage. That and the Shadow Shaman, you know, the glaives early can feel very, very hard to deal with, and then Shadow Shaman, he's got second highest base damage in the game, second or third.
Yep.
So
it's pretty damn high, only behind like the Treant, basically.
Yeah. And it's a good feeling to have that kind of high damage harassment from your supports early on.
That is for sure. It's low range though. I suppose that's the one downside, and you don't really want to be in a position to be running next to the Clockwork. So maybe they're going to go for like a tri-lane super early on, just use the Silencer to bully people out that might be trying to run at this Clockwork. And so, I mean, Slark's one of those heroes that can take good advantage of a tri-lane.
So this time they go for the Viper. Slark comes in for CDEC. That is an Ame special there for that Slark. But Viper, we saw Viper kind of not be enough in that previous game. Here,
10 seconds remaining.
I don't know. I don't know if I really like it in this situation against what CDC have so far.
Well, what did CDC pick last game to go with it? It was the Legion Commander Skywrath combo, right?
Yeah, they had Legion Skywrath, and then they had the Phantom Lancer Ogre that went with that Viper.
Okay. So, in my mind, then that's way too single target focused, right? Like, what did you have to really deal with more than one enemy at a time? There was nothing, right? You got a duel off, you burst everything onto one target. If it worked, you then snowball for the rest of the team fight. But if it didn't, then you're shit out of luck, basically. So that's why the fact that the Bane was able to get off some good nightmares, the Phoenix was able to get sun rays to be able to save some of these heroes that were getting going on, meant that it did eventually go in Sparking Arrow's favor. So this time around, they do have AoE. They've got Phoenix, who's able to do a lot of AoE damage through the Supernova and the Fiery Spirits. You've got Pangolier that's going to be rolling through, and so Viper can actually just act as that person that stands and fights, which is a lot more advantageous for you.
So ban the Centaur, ban the Naga, go to the Void, which is the combo that I spoke about that probably couldn't have really existed with the Skywrath in the game. I think it gets maybe kind of difficult with a Global Silence potential, but not really. If you play your cards right, I don't think that singular silence there is going to be that troublesome. And I like this. You know, Viper is one of those heroes that can hit from outside the Chronosphere. You've got the Supernova that's going to go with that combination. Even, you know, a Swashbuckle on the side or something like that, or even the Pangolier disrupting the fight around the Chronosphere with a Rolling Thunder. Like, I think this combination for SAG is a good one. I am a little worried about the Viper, but your points definitely made me, if I were an SAG fan, feel better about it. So we'll see what this last pick is for CDC.
Yeah, and you feel like it has to be their 3 that they're finishing up with.
Mm.
They got rid of the centaur with the last ban on Sparking Arrow. Honestly, LC isn't the worst pick to still pick up, but I'm just not feeling quite as strongly about it. They're gonna go for something a little bit out of left field with that Windrunner.
Not an elimination game, but one of those series ender games that ends up being a Windrunner. What is it? Slacks who always talks about that. It was that 36-minute video breaking down why Windrunner sucks.
I watched the whole thing. He's able to keep your attention, that's for sure. And he is running it in the one lane that Slacks was like, yeah, okay, it can maybe work in the mid lane because you've got the level advantage that you need to be able to get that snowballing happening. It's a position 5 silencer coming out, so as expected, not quite having the same level of flexibility that you need to be able to just fight 1v1 with the Viper. That's another thing that I do like about the Viper, is that it kind of forced the silencer out of the lane. And we're going to see a 3 Ember Spirit coming out here.
Yeah, the 3 Ember is a bit more shocking. It's one of those positions that I last think of, from an Ember Spirit.
And it is going to be that 5 clockwork. So I suppose what this means is, yes, you're going to need to put some points into the Sleight of Fist just to be able to secure some range creeps. You can't really get all that close to the Void Clockwork combo, otherwise you're going to be taking up a fair amount of damage, but you've got the freedom to put some few points into the Flame Guard, because as long as you're not getting traded by this Faceless Void, the bashes are the only thing that he has that does magic damage super early on. And Clockwork, yeah, you've got the Battery Assault, but it doesn't do all that much. It's basically just used for the stun super early on. So I feel like you're going to be able to get some good value out of that one.
On to game 3 we go. CDEC against SAG. I used to call them
Prepare for
CDEC.
battle.
I believe during their run at TI, they had talked about how they're not CDEC. I think I recall. It was like right before that EG matchup. They were like, it's actually CDEC, guys, not CDEC. And since then, I'm like, CDEC, guys. It's fine. It's a hard one to blabber out sometimes, though. But
Do you know what it stands for, CDEC?
no idea. No idea at all. It's not like Sparking
Chinese
Arrow
Dota,
Gaming.
excellent something.
Excellent China.
Yes. China Dota, excellent China.
Crazy Dota, especially, and then doesn't get its own thing. China.
Very good.
Bam, nailed it. There we go.
All right. No coin needed this time. Who do you think's going to be able to take this one out?
I'm a special Slark, but I like the SAG combo going, and I don't know if I have faith in this Windrunner. I feel like Slacks needs a bit more B-roll for his why Windrunner sucks, just in case there's a part 2. So I'm going SAG.
Yeah, I think I saw something about like Wagamama, notorious TA player and Windrunner player. He was like, "No, Slacks is wrong for all these reasons," and then he proceeded to like lose the next 5 games as Windrunner mid. So, yeah.
I've proven a point. It's not my point, but I proved one.
Might be forced to go into the early point of Pounce here on Army, which would be a really big loss for him.
And he'd love to go
just
Essence Shift.
die.
He might just let himself die. Oh no, he goes Pounce and he's still dead.
Oh, no.
That is the worst. I think.
All right, so I'm going
situation
for
he could have.
Sparking Arrow.
That's okay. All bets are closed here. Books have cut him off.
It's pre-0 minutes, it's fine.
Gosh. That is a horrible feeling. Not awful. I think you'll get to level 2 quick enough that hopefully it doesn't really hold you back. But we'll see. Who's he got bottom coming with him? Silencer. So some extra damage with those glaives. Definitely at level 2. I think that this combo could have some opportunity at some kills here. we'll see how quickly Ame can even get to that level 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard for him to contest as this Slark early on, right? He might even try pulling it underneath his tower, this wave. Doesn't need to, just to make sure he gets that level 2 real quick.
God King top, he's gone at the time walk, level 1. Kind of rough. 24-second cooldown is never fun. But you do have an opportunity here. We see it so often with a Clockwork that just kind of runs at you with Battery Assault and level 2 with the Cogs, and that's exactly what he's doing now. And it actually ends up being Red Panda on this Clockwork. So 4 Phoenix, 5 Clockwork, something that I know we weren't awfully sure about, just because sometimes we see the clock just go into the 3, and I wouldn't have been surprised, but OP does love this Pango.
Yeah, I'm not all that surprised by it. I feel like, obviously, as the position 4 with Felix, you need to give him a little bit more of that farm priority. It's more important that you have those key early items that you need for the teamfight potential, whereas not quite as necessary on this Clockwork. You're really just there to be a distraction for them early on.
Nice try.
So now they've got this level 2. Ame does have the opportunity to get these pounces in. Let's see if he goes second level Essence Shift at 3. Because we saw, I think it was even Ame who did it, went to that second level in the Essence Shift. Oof, Red Panda. Gets very low there, has the salve though, so he'll heal up and come back into the lane. We haven't talked about mid really at all with DD up against XM. How this Windrunner is going to go. Power Shot as well as the Windrun early on. And DD just sitting here, of course, 2-0-1 on this Viper, putting that extra oomph to his attacks with the poison attack. And XM kind of just standing and trading there. Not really an amazing spot to trade like that.
No, definitely not. I mean, the last hits, the denies going in favor of this Viper, and XM right now, he just needs that experience. He's trying to hopefully get some rotation kills happening somewhat early on. He should hit his key timings a little bit before this God King Faceless Void, so maybe trying to catch him out before that chrono is available.
So, salve and a clarity for James. I believe the first clarity was canceled via Rocket Flare. They had the vision on it, and he's got vision on it once again, but clarity salve already dissipating.
DD's playing this so well, even underneath the tower, he's able to move forward and get those denies off, so the lead's going to just snowball for this Viper. It's what he can do with it. You don't want to just be sitting back in the jungle farming away.
But there was a kill there on to the Silencer bottom. Who got credit for that? OP?
Yeah. So we saw last time around he got that ultra kill, picked up onto it. So hoping for a similar sort of start to the game for himself, be able to again get that early team fight that's needed.
Oh God,
So
Ame
a bit
again.
different.
He is in so much trouble, continually just getting beat up.
Means that he needs to spend so much more, or at least force this Silencer to ferry him. Just consistent regen coming through. I'm sure he'll grab a salve here. He needs to be able to get back into that lane ASAP.
I actually just got a message from this awesome person, Div. She tells me that CDEC stands for Chinese Dota Elite Community. And it was an in-house league put together by LGD in 2014 aimed to nourish young talent in the region. And I think that did include Ame, because he was on CDC Youth, I believe, back in the day. Pounce Leash onto OP. He's sitting low and below Ame in terms of levels.
That was a cheeky little play, actually, from XM. So he realizing that you've got a Viper lane, which sucks. So no points in the Shackle Shot, you're not going to get any kills. Putting 3 points into the Power Shot, and they never actually picked up this Bounty Rune at the 0-minute mark on CDEC. So he was able to refill the bottle and just continually to throw out those arrows. And, well, he also picked up the 5-minute runes, so able to get full utility out of it. wonder if he'll opt to use this to get the point in the last word. Nope, 2 points in the Arcane Curse right now on the silencers, so just wants to try and get it off onto 2 of them without pushing the lane forward.
An Arcane Curse on both of them with Pounce leashing, Swashbuckle away. OP still going to take a lot of damage. You look at how much the glaives hit for, too. It is not fun.
Good timing for using it as well. It only connected onto that siege creep, so not taking all too much. Topside Red Panda, he's been chased up a fair amount.
Radiant's
James is
courier
going to secure the
has been
kill.
killed.
James gets that kill, gets the first one there for CDEC. But SAG so far up 1,000 net worth, and I'm going to switch it over pretty early. But you see where the Windrunner is at compared to the Viper, 300 down there. But more importantly, look at the difference between the Void and Ame. So God King's having a fun time, and he is up 600 gold compared to Ame, who, you know, as much as he's higher level than OP, still not exactly having the best of times over bottom.
Well, God King, he's got his Chronosphere now, so XM, he's not going to be able to make that early, easy rotation up towards the top side, but he still will push this wave in with the power shot and look to make something happen. You would think perhaps on the opposite side of the map, unless he's just going to continue to jungle.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Maybe just waiting for those boots to come out to him. Oh, Arcane Ring, super nice on a Windrunner.
A good one to have. Bottom, meanwhile, Felix here with Red Panda as well as OP. Probably wait on that chrono until he's finished off the Mask of Madness. Wouldn't be too much of a shock.
Just running forward on Red Panda.
James? Ooh, James wanted to get those shackles out with XM rotating in, but just couldn't close the distance in time.
Yeah, even with all this harass going on, you know, if you aren't able to close the gap, it's not going to do all too much. And well, another kill going their way. You've got 3 heroes sitting up here on the top side, not doing all too much. Eventually puts the 1 point into the Hex just to try and get that slightly larger range than the Shackles. Maybe catch the Void sleeping for a little bit, but he's looking pretty healthy. And with that Morbid Mask acquired, he's able to farm fairly safely. He's even got the quarterstaff coming out to him now.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So we'll get that quarterstaff delivered. Let's see what's next here for SAG. Ooh, actually top James sitting low. Did they use Chrono for that? Yes, they did. They'll get the kill there on James. That's a Chronosphere expended for that. I'm not sure. I guess use it, you know, or you lose it kind of thing, but...
Yeah, I think it's fine at this stage of the game, right? Considering the laning advantage that they have, they just want to be able to extend that, and CDEC, they're not in a position to be able to try and push forward into you, right? The Slark's not even level 6. There's no way he wants to leave the lane. And, he's trying to push forward a little bit just into this camp, and we'll drag it back to his lane, so at least he will hit up that 6, maybe get close to 7 as well, but you can just see here with SRF, he's trying to play aggressively, but just getting chased down by the enemy position 4 and might die for it.
Ember sitting low. Ooh.
Luckily had a couple of charges left in that bottle, but it's just the luxury of Sparking Arrow. You know, you've got this Viper, he's got a few points into that Nether Toxin now, he can go back and jungle. You get a little bit more experience on this Phoenix, and 10 seconds until he's got those Fiery Spirits available. He'll look to perhaps push the wave into the tower, then make a rotation back around these outposts.
Denied.
I think he's just too far away to get the cheeky dive off into the capture.
Then coming in,
First
Swashbuckle. That was a complete whiff, but they've gotten the Rolling Thunder that hits on Ame. Victoria is here looking over the Phoenix. They get the kill on a Red Panda. They've silenced up the Phoenix, who survives for now, but will finally fall. Viper Strike on SRF. Remnant over, not going to matter. He'll end up gone. OP still moving in, looking for Victoria, and all of a sudden Sark tries to turn this a bit. He's got 6 in the Essence Shift. DD coming down as well with the double damage. So how much are Ame and Victoria willing to stay here? They get under the tower into safety, but all the while God King continuing to farm.
Yeah, Guy can continue to farm. I suppose you could say James is up here on this top side as well, but very different prospect. He should hit his level 6 shortly, grabbing this second little Wild Wing. So there's some tower pressure available. You want to make sure that you're always keeping track of where James is right now, but I would say Sparking Arrow are perfectly fine with that trade. 2 supports for a core
Radiant's
and
top tower
a few
is under
cooldowns
attack.
expended. You can see here the fact that Sparking Arrow, they're happy to fight again. You've got a few more items that have been brought out to you. You've got this Mask of Madness completed. God King will hit his level 10 as well shortly. And that's the time where you can actually use this Chronosphere with some of your other abilities in a larger teamfight.
Radiant's
Quick
bottom
shot,
tower is under
and
attack.
there's the Supernova within the cogs. XM, he just seems dead to rights.
Nice.
Instantly, as soon as they hit level 6, they're right, we need to make a play happen. And, I mean, that's the way that you need to use this Phoenix Egg. Use it or you lose it. You said it before. It's not a team fight ability right now. You need to use it for those individual pickoffs. At best, 2 people if you're able to combo it together with one of your cores. But 2 supports getting a mid laner at the 12-minute mark, you're happy with that every day of the week.
Behold!
So 3K net worth lead here for the side of SAG so far, and it seems like a lot of which is done with Void just kind of minding his own business.
Mm-hmm. You can see Ame wants to farm in the relative safety around that tier 1 tower, but without the rest of his team
Radiant's
here,
bottom tower is under
it's a
attack.
little bit like you're pincered in. You know, they can come in from the right side, they can come in from the left, and you're just choked up next to that tower. That's not where he wants to be, and he doesn't want to have to use that
Radiant's bottom tower
that TP
has
scroll to
fallen.
be able to get away, because that limits your
Dire's
movement
top
all so
tower
much.
is
Forcing
under
him back
attack.
into his own jungle means that farm's going to be slowed up a little bit. You're going to lose out on that experience even further, and you can see here, even though it is safe lane versus mid lane, you've got a Viper that's 3 levels ahead of the Slark, which is not what you want.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
DD into an early Blade Mail, which is a bit different from the Viper build we saw from CDEC.
Mm-hmm. Don't mind this from CDEC though. They pop the mass open wards on the top side. You've got the Windrunner up there as well that made sure that that was quickly taken out. Opens up a lot more of the jungle for themselves, and that means that they can perhaps put a little bit more pressure on this mid lane with bodies.
SRF comes over, Searing Chains, pounds Leashes, Global Silence to follow it up. They have the Supernova if they're able to drop it and this fight goes along, which they might think about doing, and there it is on the back, so they get the kill on Ame. They do it was OP, but there's the hook shot. Chronosphere comes in. SRF, he's also gone. XM, low but not gone as they drop James. So a 3 for 2 in the favor of SAG, but might make it another one, another bash, and a couple of shots from DD. Triple kill for the Viper, 4 for 2 in the favor of SAG.
Just a little slow there on the Chronosphere, but still, obviously able to clean that up. It was just as the last right click was going out towards that Phoenix Egg. Just using it perfectly so far, Phoenix. I mean, catching out the Void Spirit at the end of it just with the AoE damage. That's what you want to be using it for at this stage of the game. Just throw it out there, especially if you've got your team alongside you. What's he going into? Man, he's going into an early Lotus Orb, so not even worrying about the urn, just leaving that to Red Panda to carry, and wanting to toss that onto some of these heroes. I'm a little surprised SRS hasn't even put the 1 point into the Sleight of Fist. Just feel like it would be so useful for dodging out a lot of this damage that SAG might be trying to throw at you. You know, the Clockwork hooks onto you. You can enable your team to perhaps catch up. You can dodge out the Pangolier Rolling Thunder, and there, I mean, we saw taking a lot of damage from that Supernova that you might have been able to avoid.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. No slight. Usually it feels like, if anything, there's no Searing Chains build, but this is an offlane Ember.
Mm-hmm. And now, unless he's just going to continue this farming style, it feels like the Flame Guard build is going to drop off a little bit, because you've got a Viper who's going to be part of these team fights. You've got a Supernova that's going to be active constantly. It's not like you're just laning into a Faceless Void and a Clockwork, and oh, he's caught him out again.
Oh dear, Supernova once more. XM on the run, gets the Shackle Shot out, but the burnout is there with the Supernova and Red Panda right on him.
Yeah. Fantastic support play. SAG, they're on point.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So what are they getting in exchange? They at least drop the Mass Serpent Wards down here, but
Radiant's middle tower
the
is
Fortify
under
means
attack.
that the rest of the team are able to start to come in and join, and it could just be some free money for them. He's just going for that all-out damage into the tower, not trying to deny up your some wards with some of the others. Finally, the Sleight of Fist comes out on the Ember Spirit, but it's not going to be enough to be able to secure any sorts of kills just yet. Which you feel like they might be trying to go for, right? You don't have Hookshot for a couple of seconds, but more importantly, that Supernova isn't going to be quite as impactful.
At least they're hoping that Supernova is not going to be as impactful. It may not be as impactful for the Ember, or towards the Ember, but these, you know, Sark and Windrunner are still really dealing with it. It feels like such a battle to go up against just even the Supernova for a couple of these guys on CDC.
And with this Windrunner, there's not really anyone you can even solo pick off, right? Like, unless you get the perfect shackle.
Searing Chains. Rotations are heavy from SAG. Global Silence comes in, so they can't respond immediately, but the Ember's right there staying under the tower. Not really too sure about that one. They go after James, and Ember forced to Remnant away. The Viper Strike won't give them enough damage to kill James, but with SRF staying close, he's hit with the hookshot. He'll Remnant once again, but the Rocket Flare comes out, and Red Panda, he's got the kill.
Dire's middle tower
That Shadow
is
Shaman
under
nearly
attack.
died in base just with the Viper Strike and a couple of poison attacks onto him. It was insane, and they're able to get away with a more favorable trade once more on Sparking Arrow's side. They take the action on the aggressive side of the map too, which means that they can just continue expressing their control over this area. Getting close to that Manta style too, which means that even if that Global Silence gets popped, it's not going to do all that much against you. Or Pupil's Gift as well. Man, I don't know what it is in some of this coding, but they're getting real lucky with these neutral items coming out here. The Grove Bow as well for DD, real handy for a Viper. All that magic damage that you just can amplify.
Oh, gosh, and Clumsy Net.
Radiant structures
Those are just the ones that
fortified.
feel the best. And Imclaw there for the Slark. We haven't exactly felt the impact
Radiant's bottom
of
tower
Ame,
is
really.
under
He's
attack.
sitting very far behind. It's hard for him to feel impactful at times.
Another tower going down.
Bottom tower has fallen.
And is that Manta Style coming out for God King? He has to be a little bit careful of revealing some of his positioning, because they do have it warded up somewhat. And let's watch the response from CDEC. Do they just straight book it to the other area of the map? They know where the
Radiant's
Slark
courier
is somewhat.
has been killed.
Hope God's gonna
Slark.
move towards him.
Ooh.
They had the net if he was able to get right on top of him.
Dire's top tower
But
is under
able
attack.
to just run away
Hex.
James as well.
On a Felix, no way to stop the TP, so a good disengage there from CDC.
Yep. Perfectly fine. Well, these supports on Sparking Arrow just seem so much scarier right now than their CDEC counterparts, right? You've got 500 or so gold away from picking up a full Lotus Orb on your position 4 Phoenix at this stage of the game, nearly level 12 as well, so that egg, you can use it in a bit more of a team fight situation rather than just for the solo pickoffs on the Windrunner, who is going into a Battle Fury herself, so making sure to lock it, not wanting to convert it into that Maelstrom, just wanting to go for that single target pickoff potential. But yeah, who do you kill? You know, you've got a Phoenix who's farming up a fair amount. It's going to have the plate mail as well soon for that additional armor, so not going to be dropping down all that easily. Same thing with the Clockwork, relatively tanky in his own right.
OP coming over with the double damage. He's got the Blink Dagger, so the Rolling Thunder is right on them. They go into the Supernova immediately, and you can see the damage that he's taking. They've got the Clumsy Net, back and forth, swashbuckle in, and an easy pickoff on the XM. And it is a 3 and a 4 that is producing such results for SAG.
It just coordinates together so well, right? You have the role to be able to disrupt a lot of the people trying to hit the egg, and even if you don't get that off, you can just use your swashbuckle. You pretty much will always get a disarm through with the lucky shot there, and it means that good luck trying to interrupt it. And there we just saw it being used to bounce a hero back into the Supernova range and clean up that team fight. So it just feels like XM, all 3 deaths have actually been because of this Supernova combination. So Sparking Arrow able to use it to perfection.
Now SAG, they go into Roche.
And this feels really bad if you're Ame as well. You've nearly got your level 15, but you're forced to go into, I guess, a bit more of this pick-off style of build. You're not able to farm up quite as much as you were wanting to, and you see a Halberd finished already on, I believe that's the Void. Yeah, well, sorry, he's getting closer to the Halberd, only about 850 gold away, so you're not going to want to go this BKB just yet. You know, that's not what your timings are right now based on how the early game has gone.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Got the vision on these heroes on the Dire side and how they'll play around this. Ame needing a lot of time.
They've got this Supernova again available for Phoenix. He's not holding any sort of item, which is triggering me a little bit. That Nether Shawl could be fantastic for him.
Hook shot comes in, and it's out onto the silencer, so Victoria easily picked off. I know I keep saying the word easy and easily, but they are making it look just as such.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
James, he's sitting near to the side. Maybe they're going to try and go for a pickup onto DD, but really, he's got the Aegis of the Immortal. I don't know if you want to be committing this much.
Down onto the Viper, and Viper's got the Aegis, so he'll pop the Blade Mail, and now they look over as God King with a couple of right clicks onto James as well as the Icarus dive. They'll get the kill there onto the Shadow Shaman. OP goes in with the Rolling Thunder, so he'll stop the TP of SRF, who is very low on mana. Yes, he does have a Mango, but I don't believe he's got a Remnant to jump to. Swashbuckle comes in, and the shield crashes out. They kill off the Ember.
That is not worth it. You know, I can understand wanting to get rid of the Aegis to stop a bit more of this aggression, maybe prevent them from going high ground, allow the Slug to at least have the S and Y to be able to contest these team fights a little bit more, but
Dire's middle tower is under
you gotta have something to be able to survive that, right? Like, look at how much gold the Ember Spirit's holding on to. It's 3.6k, and he would have been holding more before that death as well, so it just means that you're not going to have that additional layer of survivability. Maybe that would have given him enough mana to be able to Remnant away. I don't know, it just feels like, sure, you don't want to reveal too much of what you're going for and allow the enemy team to counter that, but it's come to the stage where it's a 10k net worth lead at 24 minutes.
is under attack.
This is really gotten bad, and another kill there as Victoria ends up dropping.
What need have I for visit? Oh, that's quite nice, actually.
XM on the
XM,
run,
are they
Red
gonna be able to scout him
Panda,
out?
they've got Hookshot. There's no way you're getting out of this one. Again with OP, Rolling Thunder. It seems to always be off cooldown for OP. Not that it's the longest cooldown at 70 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the extra duration, so really, at the end of the day, it feels like just a 60-second cooldown, which is basically nothing. Is it gonna chrono for this? I don't necessarily think it's, what is needed, especially if you're gonna first hit Bash. Put him right into the hands of Felix, who will Sunray right on top. He does escape, but the message is sent nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. Gonna grab at least one of these bounty runes here, getting that Ember Spirit closer to the Ag Scepter. Being a little bit more present in these team fights, maybe able to farm in somewhat less safe spaces. It's going to be really important for him. I just feel like they're being perhaps a little bit greedy here. Even James, he's gone into an Aether Lens as this position for Shadow Shaman. I don't know if you could wait the 1400 gold for the Blink Dagger. I think you need smaller items that are able to have a much larger impact at this stage of the game.
His impact feels minimal.
Yeah, for my sanity, at least Felix has picked up that Nether Shawl from the base. And, well, he's moving away from this creep wave. Oh, there we go. He gets close enough to hit up onto his level 15, gets the extra Fire Spirits DPS, so, I mean, I know he's a support, but this Phoenix does a ton of damage. Now with a Ghost Scepter as well, means he can start baiting out a few of these heroes to go on to him.
Just continues to get tougher for CDEC. The mountain gets steeper and steeper. Ame going into a Silver Edge after finishing off the Sanj Nyasha. He just has enough for the ulti orb, but then he'll need 600 more gold to finish off the Silver Edge in full. Again, I'm not certain that's the item that will give you a way back in just yet. And it feels like they'll need to delay even longer.
Dire's
Yeah.
turret has been killed.
He's going into that Silver Edge, so I suppose just wanting to be a bit more present around the map, have that extra speed. It's got some good attack speed too. I mean, I guess you can man fight into a void with it, just because it disables that time lock. But, you know, fighting into someone that's 3 levels ahead of you, that's got that extra talent available, that's got more items.
Found OP, but coming over is DD. So do you even want to fight here anymore? James is immediately dead. The remnants up north. Well, he has a TP. He hasn't left just
Okay,
yet.
just trying to run away as much as he can. He's got some PTSD here on the Windrunner. Just realizing, man, I can't be anywhere close to this Phoenix, otherwise I'm getting hookshot.
And that has been the Wombo
And even
combo.
now, Titan Sliver available for the Faceless Void. He's got it in his stash, just waiting to come out to him, and it's looking scary. I mean, he hasn't taken any huge team fights together as a team just yet, as this Void, but I feel like
shot
it's just
towards the
reaching that
back
point.
out of the silencer. BKB's been popped by the Viper, who is taking a lot of damage but ends up TPing out. You know, Red Panda gets a kill there on a Victoria Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains as well as the Hex. No TP for Red Panda. The Shackles are there, and there's the Shackle Shot that doesn't latch on anything, and he is pretty tanky, so he takes some time to die. And with that, it's a 1-for-1 trade. And while all things are okay so far for SAG, as they continue to get that farm on the Faceless Void.
They'll get this D-Ward off. They've got the Sentry Ward there, so just wanting to make sure their one last little safe space on the map isn't disrupted all too much. But now that you don't have the Global Silence, I don't think you really care all that much about fighting into the relative unknown. You know, you've got the Supernova, you've got the Rolling Boulder, you've got all the ultimates available on Sparking Arrow right now, and that fresh BKB pickup as well. Needing to use it to just get away on the Viper for now, but it's back available. It's still 9 seconds.
God King thought about it. Rolling Thunder with the blink. He'll have to turn and try and get on to James, but I really don't think there's a way James TP's out of this. And he'll throw a Hex on the Phoenix, but still won't keep his life.
Even a gem now on the Phoenix. They just want to choke out the entire map away
Sark
from them.
goes on to OP. Whoa! He was killed so quickly, though. He used the Chronosphere on XM. Supernova does end up popping, and he will get the double kill. Hook shot coming through. Ame, they're blocked out via the cogs on the stairs. A good positioning there from Red Panda. It won't net them anything more, but certainly a decent fight from SAG at the end of the day. However, it was disgusting how quickly OP died.
Yeah, I mean, they do have that potential, but you just saw there, it didn't really matter just because of how they took that fight. You know, Windrunner again dying in exchange for it. SRF, he's made a bit of a blunder, perhaps.
That results on him with the Sunray Slight. It's not going to be enough, and Red Panda will claim the bounty of SRF. This is a 5-position Clockwork that has found himself in an 8-3 and 8 kill score.
Yeah, I mean, just working. That's the thing about having a support partner, right? That you're just so familiar with. They've rotated around the map together. That one was a bit of a blunder from SRF because they just got rid of the observer ward that was there, so they had complete understanding that you know, there were people there were people hitting it. So
Precious bounty.
just giving his life away, and that's not what you want when you're already at what, a 6% win percent chance.
Hook shot misses, and still some right clicks coming in, but maybe you've stayed too long. And, well, Ame now in some trouble. The pounce is not getting him that far away. The global silence comes in, but they've got the control. And again, the damage out onto OP is overwhelming enough to get the kill onto the Pangolier. But the damage from DD, he'll pop a Blade Mail, has a Lotus Orb on himself. Felix gets the kill onto Victoria and back over as SRF is trying to Remnant away. But the Sunray is out. And God King is looking. He is trying to get a kill here as they look over at Ame. The bashes come through. The damage is there, but it's not enough. The shackle latches God King over to Red Panda. And the supernova goes off and deters CDEC from continuing this fight.
Okay, so little victory there for CDEC. Popping a few of those big ultimates. Getting a favorable exchange. Position 5 for position 3. I think DD may be thinking that he was still holding on to that Grove Bow, so he didn't have the damage to continue fighting there, even popping the Satanic towards the end of it.
Radiant
They're
are
smoked,
scanning.
looking to go again.
I don't know about this one, though. You've got this Faceless Void. He's going into a Nullifier as well, so wanting to prevent some of the escape potential coming through for the CDEC side. So, especially for this Windrunner, it has to be said, right?
They're
You
coming
can't run away
around.
from
Shackle, Lotus Orb, and Rolling Thunder is right in. Hookshot onto the backlines, hits the Shadow Shaman, but the Chronosphere seems decent, but God King's already dead. They got that kill on a 3. They look over at XM. Maybe they don't need the Faceless Void to really come out on top on this one. They'll disarm this Windrunner, and now they've got the Yule, so they'll have the control. And if they can get around Windrunner, there's nothing that XM can do, and just like that, it's a 4-for-1, despite the fact that God King dies.
Yeah, another favorable trade. Roshan's available, and I think it's perfectly reasonable to try and take it with DD sitting here. They've got the minus armor coming from the Orb of Destruction as well as the Lucky Shot, so even without your main core, there's plenty to be able to take it down. This is the cheese as well, which it's going to be handing on anyone, but maybe just wanting to hand something over to the Faceless Void.
Roshan has fallen to the dark.
So second time the Aegis has been put on DD.
He's not wanting to go into the Nullifier anymore, or at least just yet. Wanting to get that Satanic just for that little bit of extra survivability, perhaps. Just thinking, alright, well that was a little bit scary that I dropped down in that team fight. Need to make sure that doesn't happen again, so at least I can get off. I mean, maybe they're just going to hand over the cheese to the Void, or feel like when he's got that Satanic there's not too much that's going to be able to kill him, especially when it's combined together with the resist from the Halberd, the status resist from the Titan Sliver, all of the extra healing that you get from holding both of those, and the Manta Style.
This offlane Ember does not really seem to be working out that much. It's been caught out a couple of times. SRF, not one of his better heroes, it's looking like. However, I think the game, even with an 18,000 deficit, you see the damage that they can output, how quickly they did kill that Void in the right spot, but they have to put all the tools together here for CDEC. They're just down by too much to really make a mistake.
And he's going for an E-Blade on this Ember Spirit as well.
Dire's top tower is under
Not
attack.
sure what that's about. Maybe just forcing God King into a BKB, but even then, the E-Blade's not going to last all that long. You don't have a ton of damage that's going to combo together super well with it, other than a power shot. But, I mean, that's not how the Windrunner is itemized for all this magic damage. It's looking odd, that's for sure.
Smoke for Red Panda.
Radiant are scanning.
Scan was quick, but out on the God King. They move over. However, the wards are here for the Dire side, so they're spotting.
Oh, Ame.
Dire are are scanning.
Spotting this with a scan.
He immediately backs off. They found him.
Hook shot on Ame. They've got the cogs. Now he needs to leave. Good pounce onto the low ground, but is it enough? Silver Edge, Satanic finish for the Faceless Void. He gets away. The rest of the team's behind enemy lines. They're actually very deep. Away from Ame.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah. Up until now, there's been no real reason to get some observer wards in their own tri-camp. You know, they're playing with a 20k net worth lead. They don't really care that you know, they're pitching a tent in their high ground. Oh,
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
This is in the base. This is right onto the silencer. They're going for the tier 3. And is there really anything that CDEC can do? Ame's pushing through mid while allowing his base to just kind of get taken away.
and now they've got this silencing nether toxin as well available for DD. I think they're just trying to ping every now and then with this enchanted quiver
They got the
against
break.
this Viper.
I almost want to feel. I almost want to say that God King could have just been willing to throw the Chronosphere right there.
Radiant
Good.
structures are
Maybe he's, well, they've baited out the glyph, so that's a nice little win for them. And he's not quite at level 25, so maybe feeling a little conscious about that. They've got the Global Silence available now that Silence has come back up online.
Lotus Orb, Global Silence, God King back, and now they've used it. BKB's been popped by XM. DD leading the frontline charge as Red Panda comes through with a great hook shot. Supernova's right there, so how do you even re-engage on this? You don't have XM for 80 seconds. Rolling Thunder hits on to James. They look at the Shadow Shaman, they'll take him out. DD with the double kill. And now you're fighting a 3v5 situation that does not look winnable. And yeah, with that, they're just going to call GG. They're not even going to give an opportunity to Ame, who goes uncharacteristically 0-3 and 6. But SAG are the ones who end up taking the group.
Yeah, good on them, right? Like, not looking good in that game, number one, but addressing the big issues for them. Realizing, right, we just got to get rid of some of those comfort heroes away from CDEC. The Mars and the Spectre specifically, and you don't want them just to get all that aggressive for you, so making sure to ban out that that Beastmaster as well as the Vengeful Spirit. And Sparking Arrow, to their credit, support duo, fantastic games again. I think despite the fact that DD again didn't die once and was 10 and 8 throughout that game, you have to give it over to Red Panda as well as Felix that time around.
Yeah, Red Panda constantly hitting those hook shots, getting to the back lines, making sure that they were, at least plus in numbers, it felt like, the entire time. So, SAG, they end up taking the group. It pushes CDC to now a decider BO3 with the winner of the next BO3, which is Aster LGDs. It's gonna
An
be
elimination match. We're going to lose our first team.
Gonna lose our first team of the event, which is either Aster or LGD. This should shape up to be a good one. Both teams coming off a 2-0 defeat in their first round. So we'll be back with LGD against Aster coming in next. We'll see you guys in just a second. Stay right there.